And for more, we're joined live from Washington, D.C. by the former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, John Bolton. He, along with Lawrence Eagleburger, a former U.S. Secretary of State, has written a scathing article on U.S. policy over Kosovo in the Washington Times. Hello, and thanks for joining us, Mr. Bolton. Now, first of all, you say current U.S. policy over Kosovo relies on unconvincing claims the province is unique. Are you saying Kosovo should not become independent?
Well, I don't hold a brief for Kosovo's status one way or the other. My basic point, and Secretary Eagleburger's, was that that status should be resolved by negotiation. I think that's going to require give on the part of the Serbs and give on the part of the Kosovar Albanians. What we object to is an international decision that splits the country without it being negotiated out. So I don't see this as an easy negotiation, but I think it's far preferable to the Security Council of the UN or the European Union making this decision on its own.
Now, why are you critical of the current administration's failure to work together with Russia on Kosovo?
Well, I think this in part is the U.S. State Department on autopilot. Back in the days when Serbia was ruled by a communist dictatorship under Slobodan Milosevic, I think the policy was understandable. But today, Serbia is struggling to create conditions for a democratic society. And I think it's a terrible signal to pull apart the country even as that process is underway. I don't think it will result in stability in the Balkans. I think quite the opposite. It will increase the risk of instability. And I think that, frankly, the U.S. and Russia have more important issues to deal with than to get into a struggle over the issue of Kosovo.
Still, if there can be a compromise between the United States and Russia, where could there be a consensus between the U.S. and Russia?
Well, I think first it's clear that both sides, the Kosovar Albanians and the Serbs, are going to have to understand that they're not necessarily going to get their highest aspirations. That, to me, is what has been most troubling about the U.S. and European position on Kosovo, that simply by allowing the Kosovar Albanians to say, if we don't get our way, we'll declare independence unilaterally, we have compromised the negotiations. I think Russia, on its part, could participate more actively if many in Europe weren't perceiving that Russia was threatening to cut off oil and natural gas supplies. Russia is going to be a partner in Western security structures, and I think it should be. There has to be more of an appreciation for how these things work out.
Now, Mr. Bolton, in all likelihood, Kosovo will declare independence within a few weeks. What future does it have? What consequences could it lead to?
Well, I think it's very risky if it's granted recognition by the U.S. and most European countries. I don't think it's economically viable. I think that its instability risks attracting Islamic extremists from around the world, and I think the mix in the Balkans actually then tends to destabilize other countries, Montenegro and Macedonia, that also have Albanian populations. So this is the end result of a lot of dealing over the former Yugoslavia, and I think we've gotten to the point where attempting to carve out new countries really is threatening to exacerbate the risk of instability.
Now, saying that this policy is risky, are you saying that the aim of U.S. policy should be to keep Serbia sweet and stall any Albanian moves to independence?
No, I don't think we have a fixed interest in the outcome one way or the other. I think that negotiations, mutual acceptance of a road ahead by both Serbs and Kosovar Albanians is the right way to go. And I think for the Serbs, as I said a moment ago, I think they have to understand that times have changed in the last 10 years, and they're not necessarily going to get their fondest wishes either. You can't go into a negotiation like this by deciding the outcome in advance one way or the other. So I think both sides are going to have to make some hard choices. The position of the U.S., of Russia, and of Europe ought to be to say, you all are going to sit in a room and work this out, and we're not going to put our thumb on one scale over another, so to speak.
Okay, now let's get to another important issue. It's Super Tuesday in America, and what's your view of the candidates' grasp of the complexities of foreign policy?
Well, I think on the Republican side, as between McCain and Romney, either of them have the experience and the maturity and judgment to be president. Probably won't be surprising to hear I don't see those qualities on the Democratic side. It's one reason why I think the upcoming election is so consequential for American national security. I don't think we've had enough debate of those issues so far. It may be after Super Tuesday, if the nominees are known. As we move toward the general election, we will get more of a foreign policy debate than we've had, but I think it's going to be very important for the voters to understand the implications of their vote for foreign policy when they make that choice.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Bolton, for your analysis.